That's probably why my head hurts.
Right?
Hi, everybody. I'm Regis, and welcome to American Horror Story live stream for episode 1, The End. I'm here with Stacey Smyth.
Hey, everyone.
Like I said. Stacey Smyth. Stacey, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, some of you may know me from the Game of Thrones community. I also watch American Horror Story. There aren't too many shows that I watch, but this just happens to be one of them. I'll be honest with you. I was a late adopter of this show. I started watching it at the very first episode of Hotel, and I was like, no. I can't do this. I have to start from the beginning. So I binge watched everything up to Hotel, and then I caught myself up, and I've been watching it for the past few seasons, and I am all about this show. It is way cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I actually started watching with my mom from the very beginning. We were right there at Murder House on the very beginning of it, and I have been sucked in ever since. But I kind of get into the scary stuff a little bit. We'll go ahead and start with a little intro for those of you that don't watch it. American Horror Story is an anthology with a different theme every season. We'll go over that in just a second, a little bit about the different themes. Because there are some theories that go with the themes too and how they might tie in together. What we've got going on here, though, is they do actually based on true live crimes and real people. It does actually tie in. So it's kind of really fascinating if you get into that sort of thing, or if you're just into scary stuff. It gets really interesting. We do have a lot of scary stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on this year. I'll quit saying in a minute, I promise. It's about Apocalypse this year. So we're starting off with The End is our first episode, and it starts off with missiles going off. World War III has started. War is declared. We got a lot of scary stuff that's happening with the missiles that start and the alarms going off on the phones, and everybody's evacuating, and only a few survivors are even going to make it through this. And we're kind of in question of who's even going to survive out of that. Before we get into that breakdown, we want to tell you a little bit about the previous seasons just to catch you up to speed, because they will come into play, at least 2 of them that we know of this season. Like I said, this season is called Apocalypse. So we are getting into some end-of-the-world stuff here. I do watch it and have been watching it a long time. I know it's kind of crazy to think I get into something other than Game of Thrones and even Marvel, because I do get into Marvel. Stacey, why don't you tell us so far? We'll go over the previous season. Let's do that quick, and then I'd like to know what is your favorite season. First season we did have Murder House. Second season we had Asylum. Third season we had Coven. Fourth season we had Freak Show. Fifth season we had Hotel. Sixth season Roanoke. 7 was Cult. And then now we're into Apocalypse. So far, what's been your favorite season?
I am going to be honest with you. I really liked Asylum. And not that, not that I'm sick in the head or anything like that. I just really liked it. I thought it was gruesome, but I thought it was really good fun at the same time. I think that they had a really good balance of the 2 of them. I really dug Asylum. I wasn't too keen on Murder House. I mean, it's a good introduction to how the series works. I think it was pretty good. I didn't know what to expect in it, and I don't know. I just really. I just stuck to Asylum. And actually, I'm probably one of the few people that liked Freak Show. I know a lot of people that didn't even watch it because they were like, oh, no, this is like crap. And I was just absolutely enthralled in this whole idea of these people who were, you know, just like the bearded lady, and it just reminded me of like real old time, you know, circus type things. And, you know, like you would go on a boardwalk and they would be exploiting these people and stuff like that. They had one actually in my hometown back in the downtown area over by the beach. So yeah, it's not a fake thing. They actually did this stuff. And I thought it was a cool concept. So Asylum and then Freak Show for me.
Oh yeah, Freak Show was actually one of my favorites too. And that is true. They did have them. It took place down here. That season took place in Jupiter, Florida, and a lot of them did live down here in Florida. So I thought that was kind of cool just because of that. My favorite season, of course, would be Coven, and because of the New Orleans theme and the witches theme. My second favorite, I think, would be Freak Show too, actually. I don't know why it got such a hard time. I thought it really was one of the best seasons that they did. It was amazing. And how Sarah Paulson just pulled off the twins. Yeah, man, she is amazing. She's like one of the best actors I've ever seen. Just how she's doing the roles, and I see my poster, just bear with that. I've just taped him up. Yeah, she's, and this season, for fact, Apocalypse, she is doing 3 roles. But yeah, I was seeing how like during Free Show, it was taking like 15 hours every time she did any of those scenes. For those of you who don't know, she played Siamese twins during Freak Show, and every one of those characters were actually based on a real person. There was a real life crab or lobster boy with the claws like that or fingers like that. There was real life Siamese twins, a real life bearded lady. That was all based on real stuff. And that's an interesting point to bring up for this season, because every season has been based on reality. Asylum was based on real places and real people too. Cromwell was amazing. Excellent. Yeah. And you know, that was his son that played the young version of him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, what a dead ringer for his dad.
Yeah, he was. It was great. Yeah. But yeah, in Coven, because I love New Orleans. I love New Orleans. And yeah, of course, the whole witches theme, I love that. So that's really one of my favorite. That is my favorite, hands down. I've seen both those seasons repeatedly because I just go back and binge watch stuff all the time. And they're actually going to come back in this season. We'll have the first season Murder House that will come back into play also. So be on the lookout for some witches during Apocalypse. And let's go ahead and roll into Apocalypse. For fact, let's bring up the music, because just real quick, we started off with it playing this. We were talking about this a little while ago. It was playing the song that was in how we started the series with the song from Murder House that played at the very beginning and the very end, which made it kind of eerie and just gave you that little creepy vibe to get it going, you know, especially considering how we ended the show, which we'll get to that in a few, because that was just a nice little surprise to come in there, especially at the pace that they're kind of going. It seemed like for this one, as far as American Horror Story tends to go, we usually jump in a little quick on the first episode. So this one kind of went a little slow, I think, at least. But it was very interesting and just how they're doing it, I think. And I'm excited to see how it's going to go. I don't think we're going to have a zombie apocalypse sort of thing. I know there's been a few little ideas out there floating about that, but yeah, I don't think that's what we're going to have.
No zombies.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it now. It's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think
it's so overdone in so many other shows, and
let The Walking Dead keep that. They can have the zombies. Yeah, that's it's done too much. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's start off with how we started this whole episode. And that was, like we were talking about, we had the missiles come in, and it was World War III was declared. We had Moscow getting bombed, Tokyo getting bombed, London was bombed. All of them were wiped out immediately, and we had people rushing to evacuate, to go for safety. There was nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. Very few people had anywhere to go, and it was like $100 million to go into the bunkers, we'll call them right now, but they're actually outposts is what they're called. And so very select, very wealthy people got to escape. A couple of them by chance even. I mean, really, it was by chance. And then we had a couple people because of their DNA makeup. What was your impression about that? Because, yeah.
So to me, there were a few clues in the episode. The first one is when they talked about the DNA in the first place, and we just happen to know that this episode is going to be a crossover that includes witches. So to me, the first thing that comes to mind is that these people may have that in their bloodline. One clue to me was when the teenage boy was being taken away from his family, and the explanation was because of his exceptional DNA. His father didn't resist. Okay, his father was pretty much like the only person that could have stood between him and the door, and his father just let him go. So I think the father somehow knows something about the DNA that maybe the mother doesn't know, because it was specifically mentioned that their other son, the brother, didn't have the exact same DNA as this boy. So something's up with that. So I think that there's something specific to the father's line in that. And the other thing was the idea that they bring in taking DNA tests, first of all, different situations where you would have DNA on hand to where people could find out about your special, exceptional DNA. So in his case, he took like an ancestry type test, and another girl that was taken before him, she was in prison, and they take blood tests. So somehow, some way, they gained access to these two people, which I think it's a kind of weird thing. Like, why just these two people? Why are these two particular people so exceptional? I'm thinking it has to do with the witches.
Yeah, I agree fully. I thought it was kind of funny. Number one, that's terrifying to me, to think that people are actually out there tagging people because of bloodlines and your DNA. And I know, and this is something I've said for years, is that they're really doing stuff like that people are really being monitored and tagged by their blood samples and what's going on in hospitals and doctors, that you have no idea what's going on. You don't know what they're doing once you go for just a routine exam, or if you're in an accident or something and you're unconscious, you don't know what they're doing to you. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's no telling anymore in this day and age what's going on. And like you brought up the ancestry bit, I mean, that's advertised all the time. Oh, get your DNA done, find out your ancestry. And I'm not going to lie, I'd love to do that myself. And I've thought about it several times just because curiosity, Curiosity killed the cat, though, so that's kind of, I don't know. So to me, that alone was terrifying when they came and picked, in the kid's name, I looked it up, was Timothy, because I don't think they ever said it other than when I read it in the subtitles, when the little whisper came,
It's kind of hard to get people's names this season.
It is, yeah. The only one I remember really was Coco and Evie. But, yeah, other than, we'll get to them in a minute. But, it was really hard. I was curious, why was it only them two? Because those were the only two that we seen. And it kind of gave me like a little Adam and Eve vibe, especially because it's the end, but it's a new beginning. You know, we have this whole nuclear winter that's happening because of all the missiles going off and everything that's happening. So we're essentially starting everything over again. I mean, they're completely wiped out. There's no more electricity. We're going back to candles and everything. So, which we'll go ahead and we'll roll that into, they take them from where they initially have them in the bunker when the bomb hits, and because they are in LA when it happens. And like I mentioned, Coco and Evie is actually Joan Collins. We have her this season, which is really exciting. And I don't know if you caught this, but she did like a little Dynasty moment with the burnt champagne. It reminded me of Dynasty so much. And the fake news was great when she was like, "Oh, let me call Donald. It's probably just fake news." That was just wonderful. And like, what was his name? I got it wrote down. Mr. Gallant. That's who Evan Peters is playing. His name is Mr. Gallant. Or he's a hairdresser. That's her grandson. And he's like, "Come on, Nana, we gotta go. The end of the world's happening." And she's like, "Oh, so is global warming." You know?
That was pretty funny.
and so she's just going to be a wonderful character this season. I love it. I'm really excited about her.
Her attitude is like, okay, we're going to die one way or another, so whatever.
And the first time I watched it, I had missed the first few minutes, so when I went back and rewatched it, it just made it like so much better because of that.
She's great.
She is, and it's like, oh, this is just going to be wonderful. And I can't wait to see her and Kathy Bates interact more, actually. That's what I'm most excited for. And we had where they took Evie and Mr. Gallant, went and kind of just eased their way in with Coco, who Coco is a Vanderbilt, by the way. She got her dad's spot. Her dad had 4 tickets for her brother and her mom and him, like family tickets, I guess you could say. And she had no idea about it. He called and said, "We're in Tokyo. We can't get back to you. I've got these tickets reserved. Go to this plane. It's waiting on you." This plane that was flown by nobody, by the way, which again made me think of Wiz. So I think she's going to have some connection to the bloodline too there. And then they go and they're at the outpost. We didn't even see their intake, so maybe we'll get that in a flashback, I'm thinking. But Coco goes, she takes her assistant, and then we have Mr. Gallant and his Nana Evie that kind of just ease their way in and hitch a ride. And we go to this outpost, and we meet Miss, I might say it wrong, Miss Venable, who is played by Sarah Paulson, and I will go on and on and on about how wonderful she is. And then we see where Timothy and what was the girl's name again? Emily comes, and they're actually brought in later, but everyone else is already there. So, and they look like they're comfortable and have been sitting there for a while. So when they get the intake, it's kind of actually it was kind of sanitizing, and it was a little odd for them, but they kind of gave you the experience like you were going through it firsthand. And it was a little eerie when you first got there because you got the whole full-on nuclear winter feel of it all. Did you have any like impressions when you first got there? Because I know when I first seen and when Sarah Paulson walked out, it was like, there she is, you know, and especially like when Kathy Bates came out too. I mean, those are my moments when I see them. Did you have any first moments when we got to Outpost 3?
Oh my goodness, did I? So Sarah Paulson, you know, I didn't think much at first with her character because she just reminded me of like any other, I don't know, like a school marm or something like that. That's just kind of like the head of the house, and it's just her responsibility, and you know, that kind of thing. But I had this real sense that she just did not like these purples. Okay, so you guys know, it's kind of like a caste system inside this bunker, right? The rich people, the elites, or the people with the special DNA, they're called the purples, and they wear purple clothes, and they are separate from the grays, who are the underclass, the workers, the ones that serve them. They're called on to serve. And the girl Emily, I think this is great. The girl Emily, you know, basically makes a comment about Sarah Paulson's character, you know, are you a purple, or something to that effect. And she's like, no, I'm the face, I'm the right arm of the cooperative. And she gets really like snarky about it. She seriously like took issue with the fact that she was not one of them. And I think that that's going to be playing out too. I think that that's why she's going to, you know, in particular, I think she's got some things in mind for these people, because she's not one of them. Another thing that led me to think that is that later on in the episode, they show her and Kathy Bates playing dress up, wearing purple outfits, and they're not supposed to be. And we find out that they're making up their own rules and everything. And we're like, oh my God, she's just going to go freaking ballistic on these people. She's not one of them. She doesn't care about them. And it doesn't matter. She's gonna wreak some havoc.
Oh,
I love it. I love her character so far.
Yes, me too. And she's actually playing 3 this season. So that'll be really fun to watch her juggle all this. Yes, I loved it whenever they play dress up, and you could tell too. And
Yeah.
we're back to a class system. And I love the comments she made about social media making everybody feel like they were equal, and that now they're back to having a class system.
Yeah.
The outposts, there's actually 10 outposts, they said, in the entire world, and they're outpost number 3. By the end of the episode, though, we're down to only 3 left, and it's only 18 months later. So we do have a time jump in the episode. It starts out at the beginning when we're in April, I believe, April 2018, and by the time we do the time jump, we'll end up in it goes to April 2021, I believe, is when we'll end up by the end of the episode. Like when they get to the bunker, it's October, and we have the time jump, is how it was explained, at least. Which will bring up another point, because the last episode of Hotel was actually in Devil's Night, October 30th of 2022. So that's going to be an interesting little theory crafting there as to why and what's going on. Maybe they're going to somehow reverse the apocalypse, or maybe it's all just screwing with these people and none of it's really happening anywhere else. Because we don't know where they're at. We don't know where the outpost is at. Timothy, these people were just taken there. Timothy and Emily were taken in a truck. The other people were taken in a plane. We see them transported. We don't know how they got there. They just somehow arrived, you know. It was really hush-hush. They armed guards, the whole nine. And the whole class system, we have the great people that were described as the worker ants. And it was really funny because Coco's assistant, Mallory, I believe her name was brought there on one of Coco's tickets, so to speak, one of her spots, but still ended up in gray. And she was really upset about that, I remember. And she's like, can you talk to her and see when I could be a purple? But they weren't trying to make her purple. So I definitely think it does have something to do with their DNA. But they still let Edie and Mr. Gallant stay there. And we had an issue later with Stu, where they were playing dispensing justice, let's put it that way. And they kind of took that into their own hand and wanted to do what they want to do. I think that's going to come back on them, because they're the right arm, so to speak. Well, that was what they said, actually. They're the right arm of the cooperative, which the cooperative is what is over all the outposts and basically, I guess you'd say, the new government. So, I mean, there is no more government, but the new...
Well, there is a description of the cooperative, right? And it's supposed to be 12 people of the greatest minds, and they're supposed to be visionaries. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to show who these 12 people are at some point. So that's kind of like on my wish list.
Yeah. I just seen where Chrissy. I just seen Chrissy asked if Angela Bassett was on this season. I looked that up. I was hoping she was so much, and I could not find her anywhere. I was like,
she's
please.
Not.
Yeah, I was hoping. Yeah, she's not though. That we were talking about Dennis O'Hare too. He's not on this season either. He's one of my favorite ones every season. Every time it's like, where's he at?
Disappointingly, oh my gosh, yeah. I love seeing him every season. So
and Jessica Lange, I know we get her on episode 6, and I believe that's the only one that we get her on. But she is reprising her role from Murder House. So yeah, that'll be very fun. And yeah, we'll get to all that in a minute. Let's finish going through the episode. Then we'll talk about how those are going to come back, because that's going to be interesting to see how they're going to bring those in. Now, we were talking about the dress up and all that, but we also seen where they're not allowed to, they told them they couldn't have no little, with the dispensing justice part, you know, they decided that they were going to mess with the Geiger counter and try and decide who was going to live or die. Nobody knows yet that they're just screwing with them and turning the frequency up, and that it's not real. That could come back to haunt them. That could have been a whole other way if they would have turned that and decided to do it to Mr. Gallant. I think there's a reason they didn't do it to him and instead, and he actually survived to live, other than, you know, who the character was. Was there any thoughts that you had on that one, other than, I mean, I know that the whole scene right there with the scrubbing in the shower and everything, I don't know what movie it was that I watched when I was young, but I remember just that happening to somebody in some movie, and it freaked me out.
It wasn't nearly as funny as like Super Troopers, okay? I wish it would have been funny like that, but it wasn't. But you know, these poor guys, you know, and we come to find out too that there was no radiation on either of them. And I think the whole purpose of that was because they probably knew a couple things. Number one, to keep this elite guy in his lane, you know, by scaring him a little bit, by, you know, shooting Stu in front of him, right? The other thing is they fed Stu after they killed him. They fed him to everybody. So I'm like, you know, I think it's scare tactics at this point. It's weird for me to see that. I don't know. I don't really like their scare tactics, but I understand why they're doing it. Is they're kind of trying to, you know, retrain these people's minds. But here's something that I noticed, right? I felt that there's some people that just aren't going to be so scared. For instance, gosh, what's her name? Adina's character. Oh, Dinah Stevens is the name of her character. And Joan Collins's characters. So right away, as this was going on, as they're eating their soup, which is this stew guy, you know, they're okay with it. And the younger generation is just not okay with it. So there's a clear generation gap in how they are facing this adversity, this situation, right? And I feel like, you know, because they're older than the rest of the kids in the room, that they're probably going to be a little bit more keen to survival because they've seen a lot more crap in their lives. And this is like the first real situation that these kids are going through, and they're not quite sure how to handle it. I mean, Evan Peters' guy, you know, he's throwing up in his soup as soon as he figures out it's a person. I mean, what else are you going to eat, right? You know, if there's nothing else, then I don't know. I just felt like there's something that's kind of really cool that they brought out in this older generation. Like they're the true survivors of this, and the kids are just, you know, young and whiny. I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, no, that's a really great point, actually. And Coco, the first thing she said was like, "Sorry, come stick your finger down my throat." And actually, the generation gap there, she even said when it all first happened, the first thing she was upset about was her phone no longer worked.
Yeah.
So, you know, that definitely shows the clear generation gap. And you're right, because they'll probably survive a lot longer than anyone else will. I could see them going and hitting someone over the head and saying, "Yeah, no, I'm going to live. You're not going to." Mm-hmm. Because of that, you know, they're fit to survive a lot better and to adapt a lot better than the younger ones are, because they're just like, "Ooh, you know, they're not going to do that sort of stuff." It was a good point. And yeah, they were kind of getting out a lot. And by that point, they seriously, if you're not watching, they were eating like these little, it was like ice cube looking things is all they had, and it had vitamins. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, it supposedly has all the vitamins you need to survive." We don't really know for sure, but that's what they tell us.
That was a good little lecture from her. It's like, you know what? You need to eat this. You need to appreciate it because it's all you're going to get, you know?
Right?
That was so cool. I loved it.
Me too. And they said that there was only enough food to last for 18 months. But at the end of the episode, we were at 18 months. So I'm wondering what they're going to eat now. And
well, more people got to die, right?
Right? It's like, okay, better start taking care of the help or something. I don't know. So that was kind of scary. And let's get to Timothy and Emily for a second, because when they first got there, I mean, they were introduced to, like we were talking about, the purples. They are elite. And which is kind of weird, because we were talking about Emily was actually in prison, or when she was picked up, Timothy was taken from his family. Yeah. So they weren't, you know, this is like a new status for them, basically. And they're brought into this, and they don't really know why. Now they're given this status, and then they're told that they can't touch. So they're sneaking kisses in. You know, it's like, we're taking one kiss a week.
Yeah. They're rationing it.
Like bring some life into this dull existence that we have, basically, because there's nothing going on. They can't go outside. They can't do nothing. They have nothing.
Yeah.
Something I noticed. Did you notice there was no books? There was nothing around. No, I mean, the only cards I even seen was Miss Venable and what was Kathy Bates' name again? I got it wrote down. Miriam Mead. Those were the only even cards that I seen. I didn't see no games, nothing. They were just sitting around staring at walls. Like, you seen them in the parlor. They had one song playing and then it switched to the other song on the, I guess it was the radio. I don't even know where the music was coming from. They said they didn't know where the music came from.
There was an old radio that was in the back, and they all kind of stopped and looked at it, and you know.
There was no electricity though. So how was it working? I did notice that they said, "What is this? Satan's Spotify playlist." I was like,
that was great.
Maybe it is. And so, yeah, that was really cool when they dropped that little line in there. So, yeah, I'm catching little stuff like that now. Yeah. But they're just sneaking around and stuff, and they were told that they can't do nothing unless it's authorized. So maybe they're brought there for breeding or something. I don't know what's going on with that. And maybe they're just brought there for nothing. Maybe they're brought there as like a sacrifice or something. And that's something that I thought about immediately, actually, was, are they supposed to be some kind of sacrifice later on that we don't know about? For fact, this is the Game of Thrones in me. I thought about Melisandre talking about the lamb. Don't scare the lamb, you know, you feed the lamb, you take care of the lamb before the slaughter, you know. You don't want it to get nervous and mess up the meat, you know. So, yeah, that was my little moment there.
So I kind of wondered about that, too, with Timothy, because after he got out of the shower and looked at the mirror and it said 666, I was wondering, it said beware Timothy.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen to anybody else. So there's something that that we're going to find is truly special about him that that we probably just didn't know. Maybe maybe he has something to do with I don't know. I'm racking my brain trying to think back to the previous seasons to who he could be, because again, his father's reaction, just like, it was strange. Like, he just let him go with him, and then he gets this beware thing, and 666. I mean, is he the one that's supposed to be the Antichrist instead? I don't know.
That's kind of cool that you said that, because yeah, I think he's gonna tie in the Murder House. Somehow the Langdons, I just think he's gonna be somewhere in there, or if not the Langdon side, then I don't remember the family's name, their last name, but the family that moved in there. I think but he's tied into Murder House somehow. I really do think so, and he came from the same area. The Los Angeles area, and there's my poster again, came from an area in Los Angeles where the house was. And, well, no, because I was going to say, wasn't that, we don't know if the father had any other girlfriends that he might have knocked up. We know he got the one girl in it, but she got...
his student. And that was weird, because you know what's funny is that... I wonder if maybe he is that child.
I just watched her get killed. I went back on a rewatch. I just watched her they just buried her. So that's what I thought at first too. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, no. But then I thought he was having affairs with other people too, because he was kind of a man whore. So, because remember, he was like just... with the maid, where he was kind of hitting on her, and
in all fairness, she was coming on to him pretty strong.
Oh yeah, but he was too easy though. He was too easy to target.
Yeah, so, she was weak-minded.
Who knows how many other kids he might have out there? We don't know. And also too, I don't remember, at least off the top of my head. Ask me tomorrow, because I won't finish watching that whole season by tomorrow. But I don't remember what happened to her husband, Constance's husband. I know it said that her husband left them, but it never said anything about what happened afterwards, right?
Wasn't he the one that was burned in the fire? She burned him.
Was that her husband?
That was her husband.
Okay. See, I got that part.
She burned him. She set him on fire.
Okay. See, yeah, and that's what I was wondering, because I'm him now, and I was thinking that, but I don't think that's him. See, I'm trying to remember it now, because yeah, I've done watched many seasons.
Because he's the burned up guy that helps him bury the pregnant girl.
Yeah, that's what I just watched. That's what I was watching before we got on here.
Yeah, he burned in a house fire, and I think it killed their kids or something.
Yeah, well, that's what. And he said he killed his wife and his two daughters, though.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It was the other way around. It was the other way around. She killed. Right. She set him on fire. She did.
Yeah.
It was revenge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Constance is something else. Yeah. And yeah, no, she's definitely a witch, hands down. No doubt in my mind. No. Between her giving sage to Vivian, having her daughter spit in the food when she was cooking it, and just little things she's doing. No. And honestly, I think she's the one that is doing what she's doing. The people in the house there, but that's a whole nother story. Back to what's going on here, though. Let's see. We'll go ahead and bring in Murder House. We have Michael Langdon that pops up at the end of this episode, who is actually Vivian's child from Murder House. Poster. Sorry, Harley. That is actually the child at the end of season 1. Murder House, who murders his nanny, babysitter, whatever you want to call her. This Constance's grandson, who was born from what was his name? Tate, right?
Yeah, Tate and Vivian.
Pete and Vivian, and we will have both of them this season.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have the full cast from Murder House as far as main cast. Let me rephrase that a little bit there. The full family show up. How they're gonna do that, I'm not quite sure exactly, because I know that the spirits were tied to the house. So the only way I can think of would be like maybe like on Halloween or something. You know, like the kind of going free when the spirits go free, maybe.
Yeah.
Or or maybe the witches can come in and do some kind of seance sort of thing that would draw them there. That's the only other thing I could think about, because I just don't see how they could get there. I'm excited to see them, but yeah, I kept trying to think of how they would get them there. Now, I know that they would be there just for Michael Langdon. Something I want to bring up with him. Remember, I kept saying, why does his name sound familiar? Do you remember Michael Landon?
Yeah.
He was on that show Highway to Heaven where he was an angel. So I thought it was kind of funny that they just changed the name just a little bit and made the Antichrist Michael Langdon.
The angel Michael, right? The archangel.
Yeah. So it's like they just kind of reversed it, and yeah, I thought that was funny though. It was just like but it's like, why does that name sound familiar? Oh yeah, I remember that show.
That was a long time ago.
I know, right?
He's been gone a long time.
I know. That's my age showing right there. And that guy, actually, his name is Cody Fern, and I don't know if you are into Anne Rice at all, but he is so like totally a Anne Rice looking vampire guy. It's like, oh, they need to cast him, right? It's like
if they were to like redo like Interview with the Vampire or something, I could totally see him redoing that one.
He'd be a better Lestat than Tom Cruise was.
Oh, don't get me started.
I don't think was good. Man, I hated Tom Cruise.
I hated him, but you know what? Brad Pitt was annoying, so whatever.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, I agree. No, don't get me started on it either.
I like the way that Tom Cruise played Lestat, though. Again, there was just like that dark humor. I liked it.
He played him attitude good.
Yeah.
I will give him that. I just don't like the way he looked. But let me say this: Lestat was like my first book club, like the first one that I was like, oh, I love Lestat when I was reading, and I like went through all them books because I was in love with Lestat, and I was like probably 13 or 14 at the time, so you know.
I haven't read those in forever.
Oh, I'll go back and read those every now and then just because. For fact, I'll read those, and I'll read the whole witch series that she has, and the ones where they go together. I'll get on a kick with one and then go with the other and mesh them. But yeah,
not that we're going off topic or anything.
I know.
We don't do that.
You're right.
We don't do that.
And I know, it's like a butterfly.
Witches are witches, whatever.
Witches are witches. It all comes back together, yeah. And speaking of, we have Coven coming into this season. They are coming. The witches are coming. For fact, it showed us witches on the preview for next week, so hopefully we'll see them. Something interesting I noticed about that is we're seeing witches that previously were killed. And with Misty, who was the one that could bring him back from the dead,
yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny that, you know, she was killed, but yet we're seeing all these other witches come back. Then I thought about it, and it's like, well, you know, the Supreme Cordelia did do the 7 wonders, so I guess now she can bring them all back. Maybe? Any thoughts on that, on how they come back now?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you know what? I didn't give it much thought because I felt like I would be jumping ahead if I did. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Cordelia could totally do it. I mean, I don't think she knew at the time that she could until she was able to perform the 7 wonders, which, okay, sorry, Stevie Nicks, just saying.
I know.
I keep thinking of the song whenever, you know, that's said, but yeah, I think Cordelia could do it. And that's the only thing that would make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know how else. Like, how do you mix these two, right? You got dead ghosts that are stuck in a house, and you got dead witches. I mean, how do you bring them together? And maybe Cordelia is the answer here.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Ryan Murphy, how you do it. Because, yeah, it listed Madison Montgomery, Cordelia, Zoe, Queenie, Misty Day, Myrtle Snow, and Stevie Nicks is coming back. So, yes, I know the Stevie Nicks really gets me too every time.
And Queenie died in Hotel, okay?
Right.
She died.
So, but think about this. Hotel takes place after. We got to keep remembering that. So, yeah, because they keep bringing that part up that we got Hotel going on after. So, you know, I'm really excited to see Queenie again there. She was kind of a badass. I mean, and for those of you that did not see Coven, Queenie was actually a human voodoo doll. So it was pretty cool. She'd stab herself with a fork and make someone else feel it. So you didn't want to piss her off. And Cordelia was our Supreme. Zoe was pretty cool. She was actually, I guess she would be playing 2 roles this season then, if she's going to be reprising a role from Murder House as well. And then Misty Day, I just love her. She's so adorable. Just in everything she does. I just love her. Snow, she was burned twice, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope her hair's holding up. Wow.
Well, I remember the one time, but I have to think about that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I remember that, and then, but for some reason I was thinking that it happened again.
Once. She burned once, and yeah, that just brought down the wrath right there.
Oh yeah. And speaking of, and I can't think of what was Cordelia's mom's name. I can't think of it right now.
Totally escaping me too.
Yeah, and it's gonna drive me crazy.
But Jessica Lange's character.
Yeah, Jessica Lange's character. I don't think it's just coincidence that Jessica Lange is playing these characters. I think it's because they're related. And we see that Constance is Jessica Lange too. And like I was saying earlier, she is definitely a witch. So I think it's kind of going to be something that she set in motion going on here. And she was the one that raised Michael. So when you take that into account and what's been going on at the Murder House, and then bring it over into the Apocalypse and what's going on at Outpost 3, and with Michael's arrival, how is that going to affect what's going on at the Outpost? He's just arrived, which is not going to make Miss Venable too happy because she's in charge and she likes being in charge.
Happy.
Oh no.
So not happy. She loved the idea that she just had free reins to do whatever she wanted until he came along. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic.
That is. And Miriam, she already said she likes following orders. She's used to it. So I think he's going to have a good little soldier in her.
She looks so cool. I got to say it.
She does. I'm digging her hair, man.
The way Kathy Bates looks this season.
Yes.
Okay. Not that this is a fashion channel or anything like that, but she just has this really cool, simple look. And I love it. It's ominous, but, kind of steely, and
it's very chic.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's a total badass. We were talking about her the other day. I love her in everything she's in. I will watch something just because she's in it. And yeah, no, I definitely see her being like, that'll be his true red arm right there. In fact, I wrote down a couple episodes. We have like episode 2 is going to be called The Morning After. Episode 3 we have Forbidden Fruit. Episode 4 is called Could It Be Satan? And then episode 5 is Boy Wonder. So I mean, that's kind of giving us a little idea of what's to come. Like with The Morning After, that's kind of going to give us an idea of what's going to happen next. Forbidden Fruit made me think of Timothy and Emily, obviously.
Yeah.
And then episode 4.
And that whole Adam and Eve thing you were talking about.
Right, yeah. And I didn't even think about that. until like I thought about the Adam and Eve thing before. That was like instant actually when it was just the two of them in the room when they first got him and they put him in there, because I was thinking, where's everybody else? Why is it only them two?
Yeah.
Which that's still just odd to me, because wouldn't there be more than two people? You'd think even in just all of California, let's just say just in California, wouldn't there be more than just those people? You know, even there's more workers in this place than there is people that they're keeping as elites. You know,
that's usually how the numbers go, though. I mean, honestly, like those grays are going to end up being dinner. You know?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right there.
They're there for like nutrition and
farming purposes.
Unfortunately, poor people. You know, sucks to be them. You know, but wait a second. Why? What? Okay, what did they do with the bodies of the two grays that they shot? And why didn't they become food, but the one guy did?
That might have been who was really in the stew, actually, because they dragged him off, or they might have dragged him off. I'm thinking about the horses.
Does anyone in the chat know what they might have done with the bodies of the guy and the girl? Because like, they shot them and they were headshots, so it's not like they couldn't, feed the rest of their bodies. But then, it was the whole thing about the contaminated meat. But I mean, if they were gonna, kill these two people, which could have been a food source, and contaminated, and they say, oh well, you could boil them, and then they kill the one guy in the cleaning room or whatever, and he was supposedly contaminated. And they fed him to them. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like it's an inconsistent thing. But I think that we're going to see more people become food.
Oh yeah, definitely. And honestly, can you blame them? I mean, especially with what they're eating, they're getting so
the
little,
horses,
right? And that's
feeding the horses, huh?
Yeah, and the horses actually is a good point, because I thought about them eating the horses whenever the horses but then I know the one was infected. But then we have Michael at the end talking about ending up like the horses, the people that didn't measure up, so to speak, ending up like the horses.
Yeah, but not infected, but dead.
Right. So, yeah, and the sanctuary, he's talking about the sanctuary. That made me think of New Orleans, too. Is that going to be the sanctuary he's talking about that they're going to go to?
I don't know.
Because that was referred to as a sanctuary in season 3.
But he said that would be cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But he said that he was going to be there to be the one to determine who gets to go and who doesn't. And it could be, all of them, and it could be none.
Right.
I love that, because the look on her face after he said that was like, oh.
Right. Yeah, you just seen that look of, and I honestly, I don't think she's gonna make the cut. Just my opinion, I don't think she is, and I think she knows it. I think she knows she's in trouble. She's been caught already. She's been playing with fire, and she's about to get burned.
Well,
literally.
And there was a little bit of a conflict between her and the Kathy Bates character when they were sitting down playing dress up too, because she didn't exactly agree with what was going on 100%. She was not totally on board. So I can see her, kind of like Survivor, right? Where you like turn against someone because they're like the weakest person or whatever. So wherever your best chance of survival is, that's where you're going to turn your attentions. I think that's kind of what's probably going to go on.
Yeah, kind of. I thought about Lord of the Flies just then too. Kind of a Lord of the Flies moment. And yeah, like I said too, Kathy Bates I see her being a good little soldier too. So, and she said she likes following the orders, and she didn't feel comfortable with it. So, yeah, it could very well be. In fact, I could see her being the one doing the dirty work for her, and especially if we have Sarah Paulson being the other characters this season, what real purpose does she have to go further, too much further at least, as that character, you know?
Well, Kathy Bates's character said she said she had killing in her DNA.
Yeah. Yes, she did. Yeah. So, yeah. I can see her being a henchman, you know?
Yeah, totally.
She's gonna be the little Arya this season, let's say.
She's gonna switch sides though. I think right now she's on the only side that she knows that ensures her survival. But there's someone else who's a better prospect for her survival, and I think she's gonna switch sides. It's a total, you know, I think it's gonna be a total, you know, turncloak situation.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point there, because it's all this is about survival. Who's going to survive? Who's going to make it? And when you think about it, this is actually a very terrifying situation and a very real situation that could happen. I mean, we could have this happen tomorrow. I mean, think about it. All our cell phones, everything, all our devices just start setting off this alarm and saying that World War III has happened, that they decided to set off all the nukes, and we don't know it's happening just out of nowhere. I mean, what would everybody do? You know? I mean, that is the reality that we live in today. I mean,
I've got resources, wink, wink.
Yeah. Well, you were also military too, so, you know. But, I mean, most people think about it, in a way, I kind of expect something like that to happen, honestly, because the world has just gotten to that point where it needs to recycle the whole circle of life, overpopulation. It needs to get back to nature. And I think nature always takes back over, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think we're getting to that point in human evolution, let me say, to where it's time for nature to take back over. So I can see it happening. And there's enough just crazy people in control and in power that have that power to just flick that switch and do it.
But so they haven't. That's the weird thing. They haven't for all the time that we've had this, and you know, in real life, right? For all the time that there have been people with this power, I mean, it's only been used twice.
I know. And that's kind of crazy too, isn't it? I mean, you would think that it would have been thrown a few times just because of what's going on in the world.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I know we've pissed off a lot of people around the world.
Right.
I've been to some of those places and, you know, whatever, but nobody has like pressed that button to make it happen. And I you know, and it's funny, just thinking back to the older generation, right? The Joan Collins, the Adina Porter character, you know, they would have been in the generation that had like, you know, air raids and stuff like that regularly at school. So they would be a little bit more prepared for something like this. Like they would have an idea of what to expect. And I don't know if they're really teaching that these days. I mean, you know, I don't have any kids yet or anything like that, but you know, I mean, I'm from California and they used to teach us how to, you know, stay safe during earthquakes, get under something or get in a doorway. But I don't know that anyone's really prepared for, you know, some sort of disaster like this. And maybe it's something to kind of get us thinking about the possibility, because it's always been there.
I know in Florida, because I have two kids in school, one in 5th grade and one now in kindergarten. The only thing I know about here that they kind of prepare them for is school shootings. I mean, we got, okay, if a hurricane comes or a storm comes or something like that, this is what we do to evacuate, to get you out of the school, and fire drills. But nothing like, okay, nothing for a real emergency. Other than, okay, if there's a shooting, then what do we do? So I send my a cell phone with my son to school, and I make him keep it in his backpack. I'm like, okay, you leave it off, like, well, volume off, you know. Don't play on it, you know. It's not a toy at school. But if something happens, you're calling.
Didn't they used to have, and I could probably check with my parents, you know, because they're that age. And, you know, they probably practiced putting on like gas masks and stuff. You know, I imagine that was something that was a pretty regular thing, and people were building bunkers under, I mean, they're still doing it. You know, there's preppers out there and everything. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I think this is kind of a nod to them too. Is like, hey, you guys are ahead of the game, and look at the rest of us.
We're definitely not a
Look at the rest of us. We're just gonna perish. You know.
That's it too. Yeah, it shows that's that generation gap again too, because nowadays we're lost. We have no idea what's going on anymore. And yeah, I don't know if my mom's still in the chat. She could probably answer if she is. But I remember her talking about that they used to practice actually, and they prepared them and stuff for if like Cuban Missile Crisis, for example, when that happened and stuff, what they do when that happened, and getting under their desk and stuff like that. And I remember seeing old videos and stuff of like kids doing stuff like that too. I don't remember what war it was from. It was older than that, but just different little drills and stuff that they did. And just, you know, they don't do any of that anymore. For fact, you're talking about the bomb shelters and stuff. Who even? I mean, I know there's people out there to do it. There's school gyms and stuff.
School gyms are supposed to be bomb shelters these days, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've had incoming missiles.
I don't see them though.
I'll tell you what does and does not survive, and it's not going to be the school gym. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either.
That kind of sucks. I mean, your chances of survival sitting there in a brick building are just like not very good. The most that you could hope for is that you're out of sight and therefore out of mind, and that's it. You know, or maybe you can go underground, and that's the only thing is, you know. You can't. Even
basements are a rare thing to find anymore. I know the school gyms here. I don't trust them. I wouldn't feel safe in a school gym even.
Yeah.
I feel safe in a school gym.
Yeah. No. Bricks.
What alone bombs.
Bricks aren't gonna help you.
Yeah. No. Neither is the siding. No. So yeah, let's get back to over on here.
In a nutshell, right? I mean,
yeah. Let's talk one more thing really quick. I want to bring up is Madison Montgomery and Charles Montgomery. We had Charles because they are both. We had Charles Montgomery from Murder House. He was the doctor.
Yes, the doctor.
Yeah.
And Hotel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about on Hotel.
Yep, Hotel.
Ooh.
He delivered what's her name's the vampiress's baby.
Lady Gaga.
He tried to do the abortion or whatever, and that's how the baby came out that way.
Yeah. And yeah, he did all the abortions and with his wife Nora. And she was in Murder House too. And then we had Madison Montgomery, and they had a son away, who we don't know what happened to him. So that's another possible bloodline for Timothy and Emily too, is Montgomery's. And then we have Madison Montgomery, who's in Coven. And both of them are based in Los Angeles. And so that gives us another tie to, like you said, Hotel. I like that. And which is in LA too. And another tie to the Murder House. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be brought in to Apocalypse. And yeah, that makes me think of the DNA again.
Chrissy brought up something interesting earlier, is that she thinks that Emily might have been one of the children that was in asylum, that, you know, the alien.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that would be they weren't really supposed to bring that in, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That could be a cool little concept too.
And it really could, because you think about, we're on season 8 here, and I've heard a lot of theories, and I really like this theory about it being kind of a Dante's Inferno, where the creators are kind of they're basically being Dante and taking us through the Inferno and the different levels of hell. And like we have Murder House was Lust, and I'm not going to go through them all right now. I didn't write them all down right now, but yeah, it goes through them all, and it's actually really good, and it fits and ties in really good. So, and then it comes to Apocalypse, and I'm like, okay, so what does Apocalypse mean? Would that just be like the end, the bottom of it? Are we in basically the depths of hell now? So where would that go with it from there? And
I'm sure they would feel that way.
Yeah. And and I know I keep going back to Murder House. I'm watching it right now, so it's all in my head. Where we had, oh man, what's her name? Frances Conroy. I love her too. She's another great actress. She was the maid in Murder House, and she was actually buried under the gazebo. And Constance told her, "Now you can never move on." So her spirit's now trapped there because she got buried under that gazebo. Her body's stuck there forever now, unless someone gets rid of the gazebo and gets her out of there. But she's now stuck in that house. So if the spirits are trapped there and can't move on, then what that mean for the ones going forward? Does that make sense? I'm getting confused in my thoughts here.
No, I that's a hard one, right? Because you would think that to some extent that they would include them, but the most important element from season 1 is that particular family, with the baby, with the daughter, and the husband and wife. That's pretty much it. I don't think that we're gonna see Tate. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I don't think it would make sense to see Tate. I mean, unless he's gonna face his son. I mean, that I don't see how that's gonna play out. I think that it just is most to do with those 4 characters, and then what's her name, Constance, right?
Yeah.
And then the baby, well, the child, and that child, for those who haven't seen the end of season 1, maybe you might want to bring them up to speed on Michael Langdon and who and what he is.
Yeah, he was actually, Vivian got pregnant by Tate Langdon, who was actually a ghost. He was this teenage boy who, we were talking about school shootings. He did a school shooting and was killed, and he's Constance's son. And he's stuck in the murder house. And while Vivian lives in this house, he actually kind of disguises himself as her husband, I guess you could say, while he's wearing that little latex outfit, the rubber man outfit they like to call it, and gets her pregnant. And then when at the end, she actually dies in childbirth from hemorrhaging, giving birth to Michael. And wasn't there twins though?
No.
Where do I get the twins from?
I'm
don't know.
not thinking of it, but it wasn't that episode.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where I get twins from. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking twins. But I know that she does have she dies from hemorrhaging when she has him though. And that's where we end season 1 though, seeing a little about 3-year-old, I guess he's about 2 or 3. He kills his babysitter or nanny, and Constance, of course, is the proud grandma. And that's Murder House ends. And I was talking about the song again. It is with that song too playing, which is how the whole series starts. This is the same song. Apocalypse, we're back to that song again. It makes me kind of worried that this might be the last season of American Horror Story. I haven't heard that, but it just makes me a little nervous about it, though.
They signed for 2 more seasons that I heard. Good. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do after. What are they going to do after the apocalypse, though, right?
Yeah, a new beginning. That's it, a new beginning, rebirth.
But Michael killed that nanny. at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, I know.
And
That was,
didn't she? I think she hid the body or something like that. She like freaked out.
yeah, yeah. But she was just a proud grandma though. She couldn't have been happier.
Until
Um,
then, yeah.
let's take a minute and just shout out to the chat really quick. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. We got Game of Theories with Marie. We got Chrissy of Old Stones. Brandon, thank you for coming out, darling. My mom was here, Johnny Bravo. I've seen her in there. She's a little quiet in the chat, but she was hanging out with us. Reese was here. Fandom D Saint. You're still BBM to me, darling. I'm sorry. I'm trying, though. I'm trying. Johnny B Crazy was here. OTDA. Who else we got? AU Pack Mule I've seen. Anyone else? If I forgot you, I'm sorry. I'm trying. But thank you all for coming out. I really do appreciate it. And we're going to keep doing this because, yeah, we just really like it. This is a really good show. If you're not watching it, I highly recommend it because it really is a great show. It is, especially if you're into anything scary. And we were talking about earlier, too, that it is based on real people, real places, real events. So that kind of adds a little creepier factor to it, actually, just to think that stuff like this happened, you know? So, and that again brings me back to Apocalypse. What's going to be the real tie? Like we were talking about Outpost 3 is, they tell us that it's at a exclusive boys' school, and they turned it to Outpost 3 to prepare for it. So what was this boys' school? That's what I'm wondering. And, you know, why did they know and start turning into that and prepare for it, you know? And it has no electricity, so we're back to just candles and everything. It's like we're back a couple hundred years, you know? And I mean, in a way, it's good. That's good. Let's get back to the basics. And just they're starting life all over again. But what's going to happen when they run out of candles is my question. I don't see them out there.
Oh, it just hit me. Sorry.
What?
Oh, holy crap.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. You remember the Axeman when he went on his little rampage in that conference room with Constance there, and they were meeting with that guy and I think his son. Well, they were male witches.
Yeah, no, and they were the witch hunters too. Remember the witch hunters?
Yeah. Thank you, the witch hunters. So maybe that's what that school was to them. Was that particular institution?
That's a good point, actually. I like that. Yeah, because where did they come from? And and that would also bring up the point too of how the witches would even know about it too. Well, I mean, I can see how the witches would know about it, but
yeah, they pretty much annihilated like the last of them in that room. So, I mean, there would be no need for them to have that school anymore. But you're right, they were the witch hunters, not witches. And maybe, you know, that was their exceptional ability, was their ability to hunt witches.
Right, that would be a good place for them to hide too, because you think about it. I mean, I was thinking that's a weird place for a boys' school because it's really underground. It's just kind of like a little round tower, and then you don't see nothing else. Everything's underground.
Yeah.
But it was really, really, really nice and really fancy, you know. So
you are totally jogging my memory right now. I haven't watched these in so long, and I'm so rusty on it. But yeah, that just came to me because I remember the Axeman, and I was like, dang it, who was he shoot? Because I know that they were looking for the witches, and for some reason I couldn't remember.
It was Cordelia's husband. Yeah, Cordelia's husband, and then his father. And his father got mad at him. Remember? Yep. Yep. See, I know I'm already. That's why I went back and started rewatching Murder House, because it was like I need to go back and see this because I know it's going to be important later. And I forgot that's where the twins came in, because it started off with them twin boys going in there, and I had forgot all about them. It was just little things that I've already forgot, and how the maid made herself become young and for the one guy, but was old for the other lady. And she even said it's all with what you want to see. The women want to see me as one thing, and the men want to see me as another. It all depends on what you want to see.
Yep.
And Yeah, it really is. It's very interesting on how it's all playing in. Let's see. Another thing is, I mean, you were talking about the cooperative and the 12 and the vision.
Yeah.
My thing is, who are the visionaries? Are those going to be the 12 too? I mean, is it the same person or are those someone completely different? Because just because we have the 12 running it.
There weren't, when we left off, they were recruiting.
Let's see.
So,
I got 7 listed as far as what they have coming in. We have 7 listed. Now,
yeah, who are the 12?
Yeah, and the visionaries could be someone totally different. They could be an opposing force instead of, And I honestly think they're going to be counter Michael, as opposed. I don't see the witches on the same side as Michael.
You would think that they would be. I mean, I think that's what we're probably going to be led to believe, is that they are going to be on that side.
I think some of them maybe, but no, not. I think, no, I don't think they will be. And the reason why is because, and I say this because not all the witches, because they're witches doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil, and he is definitely evil, but because some of them will be, like, again, and it's driving me crazy because I can't think of Cordelia's mom's name right now. Fiona Good.
That's
Fiona
right.
Good. Because of Fiona Good's actions and Constance's actions, they could definitely be considered bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go as far as Constance might be evil, but I don't know if I'd necessarily call Fiona evil. More mischievous, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about that one more.
No, she was pretty evil. She blinded her own daughter.
Oh, yeah. No, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah. So, okay, and again, see, that's Jessica Lange playing both them characters. So, you're going to have some that, yes, definitely aren't, but I wouldn't say Cordelia was evil at all. And Stevie Nicks is called the White Witch. She's called a White Witch. That's definitely not evil. So you're going to have the ones that are going to have to be on the other side to counteract it. There's got to be some balance.
Do you think they'll split? Do you think the coven might split?
Oh, so yeah.
Kind of like Wizard of Oz, right? Good witch and bad witch.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think so. Definitely. I think there's have to be someone to stop them. I can see Madison going the other way. I can see her being on the bad side. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And that would bring her bloodline over to that side, too, when you think about it. The Montgomerys and the Langdons being on one side, but then you think about, okay, so, and that goes back to the bloodlines again on if that's going to play a difference or and what side they're going to fall on too. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting next week to see what happens and where it's going from here.
I'm excited.
And me too. It does. It shows them coming in. So yeah, and it was called what was it again? The Morning After. So yeah, I'm really excited. And Chad, again, thanks you guys for coming out. I really do appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I hope you're having fun. And with all my and excitement, awesome. I just get really caught up in this. Is there anything else you can think of you want to add, Stacey?
I really can't think of any. I mean, we've covered so much between previous seasons and this episode and theory and oh my goodness. Is there anything that anyone thinks we missed that maybe we should address, or anything that you guys think is going to happen that maybe we haven't mentioned, or you have theories of your own about this? Because I'm kind of curious. I don't have much after the first episode, but I know that as they start ramping up with the action and more episodes, I think I'll be able to, come to some pretty fair conclusions, I think.
Yeah, this was pretty much a very bland for them, I guess you could say. Very vanilla episode for American Horror Story. So, yeah, I think we'll see a lot more going on the next episode and going forward from here. I know we do have 10 episodes this season. We do have one directed by Evan Peters, and we do have one directed by Sarah Paulson. So those will be really good, I'm sure. Anything going on with them. I guess we'll go ahead and call this a point for right now.
So next week, you guys, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do like a because I'm supposed to be going out of town on Thursday? Do you want to have a pre-show or a post-show chat?
Yeah, I like that. Let's do a post-show. How about that?
A post-show? I'll be awake because I have the next day off anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, that sounds great.
I'm going to be there. Can anyone watch right after American Horror Story? That late in the evening, 9:00 p.m. My time anyway. It'll be like midnight. It'll be really late.
It's like
it'll be pretty late.
I'm always with it though. Yeah. Oh, they show it again. They showed it at like 10, and then it shows again on East time. I know that because I used to watch it. Oh yeah, no, I'll be up though. I'm on Central Time, so it's cool with me. But yeah, no, that sounds great. Yeah, let's definitely do a post show. I like that. Again, thank you guys, everybody, for coming out. Anybody that you could think of that you'd really like to see this season? Is it who are you most excited to see? Let me ask that question really quick.
Most excited to see? Oh my gosh. I want to see how everyone, reprises their roles. I'm interested to see what they do with it now. Quite a few years later. That's how much time has passed for them. Are they going to be kind of like stuck in this time trap, or are they aging with everybody else? Or I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm most excited for the witches. I ain't even gonna lie. That's my point right there. I want to see them come in, and I can't wait to see just Sarah Paulson do all the different roles she's doing, because she's just an amazing actress, and just how she pulls it off. I mean, that is one hardworking woman that she just needs some awards. She needs like a whole shelf just behind her, just full of Emmys, because she's just man, and doing so many. Wow. And
she's in her element here, though. I think she's being kind of like that character actor, that lead role.
She's doing Billy D again too from Murder House. She's bringing that one back too, where she was like like a psychic lady or something. So, and really, I mean, that Billy D could have been a possible witch too.
I
mean, if you think about it, I mean, because she knew stuff. She was predicting stuff back then. So just based on those abilities that she had and was doing back then, I could say definitely she could possibly be a witch too. So, and she is bringing that one back, and how I want to see how that one ties in, because that makes me think that maybe they are going to do some kind of seance or something to channel them ghosts from Murder House to where they're at.
She showed up in hotel, and she was able to talk with what's his name? That was dead. So could be.
Yeah. So, and that would very easily be a good way to tie them together, actually, to bring them. So that very well may be the way that we get Murder House over to the Apocalypse. I like that. You guys, thank you again for coming out. I really do appreciate it. It's been a great time, and I'm Revengeance again. Come check us out, subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff over here. Throw up that like, and Stacey for coming out. It's always great talking to you about this stuff. I really do appreciate you.
I love it.
You want to give any last shout outs real quick?
Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, I'm really happy that, you know, that most of the people out here have seen it and they know what we're talking about, and we're not crazy, and, you know, we're not in this alone. You know, we weren't sure how many people watch it along with us, but we're so glad to find that there are people that, you know, that share our enthusiasm for this particular show. So I'm glad to see everybody, and those people that don't watch it, that are out here to support us. Thank you guys so much. It means the world. You're willing to hear us out and join in the fun. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I thank you, everybody. And Brandon, thank you again, baby. I love you. He puts up with all my nonsense. So I have to say thank you to him because he's the one that deals with me and has to live with all this. So, and thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm glad that you guys are interested in this, too. It's nice to do something every now and then that's outside of Game of Thrones just because we got to get out of Westeros. Occasionally, just a little tiny bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not too fond of it, but we got to do it every now and then. Come up for air, I know. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a good one.